in the house. This is sure to be a way to spend the Friday night with the Cork Dorks and the California Mid-State Fair. Former Winery of the Year, three times. Right, three-peat. We got the crew here, too. So we got Sterling, who's the winemaker. We got Brian Cass. We got Ted. We got Chanda. This is going to be fun, Ted. Baby. This mic's not on. We got to get the owl.
Sis, we're going to need some... you know what? I think you didn't get one of them. Oh, shoot.
And technical difficulties.
We're going to get this figured out.
Alarm going.
Yeah.
I got to tell you what happens is Ted comes and the microphones, they just unplug themselves. They're like, we're not ready for this.
We're doing that for everyone's benefit. We'll just unplug this one.
Not ready for this shit,
I love it. Well, with our friends at Cask comes a lot of conversations, Jeremy. Obviously, we're going to talk about the award-winning wines. We got a bunch of them here. They make some of my favorite Absolute Rhone whites. We're going to end up talking about Geneseo Inn, the food.
Of course we are.
A lot going on.
We're going to talk about this new bunker pool that I've heard a lot about.
Oh, guys, you just wait.
All right, give me the woo now.
Okay, think about it. You're going to get into a swimming pool, and you're going to swim up to a container, which is going to be a bar that's a wine bar.
Yeah, nice.
And you're going to sit there under this canopy with the floor out of the container of the bar, the pouring right there. And then in the other two rooms that are off the pool, there'll be a wonderful two little massage rooms overlooking the vineyard.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So
couples massage.
But I'm going to lock the gate, too, so when those hot days, instead of people leaving, we're going to lock the gate. And they're stuck at the ranch.
We're quarantining you guys here.
Yeah.
We could say that now, right? People
So
will be like,
excited.
okay, I know what that means now.
So when do we think? Are we trying to do this by next summer, perhaps?
Oh, yeah. The county they've tried to say no, but we keep rebuttaling, and we're going to win. Like
Yeah.
we won on the inn. They said no on the inn, right?
Why? What were the reasonings to say this?
Well, because I'm not going to get
They
political.
like to say
Right.
no. I mean, it's just...
Well, they don't know how to say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if they learn how to say yes, then we wouldn't have to spend a lot of money trying to convince them to say yes.
Yeah, and then later on you're going to end up being right anyway.
So that's what we're working on. And it's a challenge, but, if it was easy, everybody would have a swim-up wine bar into a container.
Well, the Geneseo Inn has been a massive success. We're just a couple years in, maybe a year, Chanda, into everything?
Yeah, the Geneseo Inn opened in June of 2020, so we opened it like smack dab in the midst of, hey, you guys can open it, but to 50% capacity. We're like,
we only got 8 rooms.
Here we go, four
Well, I
rooms,
remember
let's go.
because we did a Zoom party with them pretty much.
Yes, we
Because we
did.
couldn't be there, but we did it anyways. We're
Yep.
like, all right, we just did it at our house. You guys sent up some wines.
Oh,
and
yes.
we really got to see that, but I haven't seen it in person yet. So that is something that is
I know,
on
I think
my
it's kind of time,
top,
guys.
top
It's kinda
three
time.
things to do
Yes.
before
For sure.
this summer is over. I want to come out there and check it out.
Well, I finaled it in March, and I looked over at Steve, and I go, partner, you mean we can't open? Really? And, we did sort of a soft opening for a couple months with our wine club. And thank God for that, because we were able to critique the service.
Right.
Because it's all about service. We had to learn how to be innkeepers, for God's sake.
Well, yeah.
So I wonder what my partner's going to come up with next.
Yeah, that you're going to have to, because it's...
Well, I'm the lifeguard, by the way.
Well, Steve went a little Cro-Magnon during the whole thing, the lockdown. I mean, that beard got really long. I mean, it was pretty interesting.
Well, he
I got
that.
great photos.
He got that DNA taste, and he found it. He's like 1/27 millionth of Nigerian or whatever.
Right, yeah,
Cameroon, 2%.
Right, yeah.
So we started wearing his multicolors.
Nice.
So
Start getting into the culture.
Well, you're like bleeding into him. Like he is becoming, like you guys are becoming more like brothers.
Ted calls himself Ted Cass sometimes.
I've been called a lot of things, and I've been called that often.
Which is fine. Yeah, he's family. Yeah.
He truly is my brother.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you guys here. Sterling, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Sterling,
missed you out when you're on your trip. I was hanging out with.
Did you come in and do a little liquid lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss out on a couple things, but I tell you, it's nice to get away and do something crazy and fun for a few days. Brian, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Good
Stoked to be
see you.
here.
Are you going to grow like one of those Cro-Magnon beards like your dad?
No.
Father like
I
son?
can't
No?
handle it. I'm not a beard guy.
Don't ever say never.
can't
You're about ready
handle
to
itch.
have a second baby, right? So
Ooh,
it may
congrats.
It'll just be
Maybe.
black as
Yeah,
Steve
maybe one
start
day.
coming in.
Yeah. Got number 2 coming in December. So.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So the cast name lives on. So
Yeah.
we got one kid right now, 2 years old.
Boy or girl?
First boy.
Yeah.
And so the cast name definitely lives on with him. He's the first male cast in our lineage.
Wow.
And so now we got cast boy number 2.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So the cast name will live on.
That's very cool.
What I love about your guys' place, Ted, is, it is a little bit off the beaten path. Let's talk about where it's at, how you get out there. But then when you get there, to me, it's like Disneyland. You come in, you've got all these things going on, and it's like it's totally worth the drive. And I remember the first time we came out there, you had I'm not a cowboy, but there was horses tied up to it wasn't a stable.
Well, they would encourage you. They would encourage you to ride their horses out and hang for a while.
Yeah, it was like a hitching post. I think
we're the only winery that had a hitching post.
Yeah.
And, the horses, you'd be surprised how they would know how to get home because the people that were tasting the wines couldn't drive or ride, so to speak. No, I remember when I met Steve, 1999, it was not 725 acres of ground squirrels and weeds. Wow. And now to look back and see what's there now, it's crazy.
And to see it as a destination, people are coming out for it, and they're coming out specifically, and you have so many reasons for them to stay. There's you can be there for half a day, a whole day, and you're doing different things. You're enjoying, you're eating, you're tasting, you're walking around, and if you're staying there, you've literally taken that kind of history of people riding their horses out there, and kind of flipped it back on itself because you have like horseback riding now.
We do, and I remember about 6 months ago, I walk in and see my partner putting together a contraption. Well, it turned out to be an electric bike. So now we have 4 of them. You get a bottle of rosé, little lunch. There's places up in the vineyard to have lunch, and it's crazy.
You just take off.
But I think the most important thing, we always said this, you got to have good wine to play. And thank you, Sterling, for what you do for us.
Yeah. Well, we're starting with this Marsanne Roussanne. I love the whites here at Cass. I love those Rhone blends. Talk about this one, Sterling, because it is really tasty.
Yeah, we get our single varietal Marsanne, and it's just a lot of fun because Marsanne's not super popular, and then especially as a single varietal.
Right.
And most of it you will see around the Paso area. But it's, kind of the cliche red wine drinker's white in a way, because when it's hot out like this and you want some white, but not a lot of red wine drinkers want a super fruity white. This is just kind of really citrusy, nice little nutty kind of character to it too, like almondy, and just refreshing.
But it's got a great mouthfeel. This is different than most whites because it's got this. I'm not going to call it heavy, but it's definitely not a Sauv Blanc. You know what I mean? Like this thing it gets in your mouth. There's a little weight to it, and that's what I've always enjoyed about Marsanne.
Yeah, and we'll especially get to it when we get to the Roussanne. But yeah, the way I do the ferments kind of creates all these to have a little viscosity. It's got a little creamy texture to it.
Talk about the differences between those two, because Roussanne is a little bit more like kind of weighty, and it's got a little bit more complexity to it on its own. Both huge blenders, but on their own they're very different. So talk about the differences between Roussanne and Marsanne and how they stand on their own.
Well, I'd say Roussanne is a little, like you said, a little more viscous. It's kind of got an oily texture to it traditionally, and a lot more fruitiness to it. So like stone fruit flavors, your peach, pear, and apricot, and even a little pear flavors to it as well. And is a little more popular as far as a single varietal. Age is really nice, and I think that's what's awesome about Roussanne is you don't expect it aging whites, but one of our favorite ones that we had a cast, we just I think finally finished it last year or something. We had an 05 Roussanne.
Oh, wow.
And so I was tasting it. It was awesome.
So what happens? What happens in the glass when we pour an 05 Roussanne?
With that one, it was, of course, the fruit component is kind of gone, but it just totally transformed into something that was, I don't even know how to describe it. It's super savory. Savory white.
I had an 08 Canero from James Berry a week and a half ago, and it was a little bit like more deeper in color, but and of course a Roussanne, so it's already going to kind of have that weight to it. But there was this layer of complexity that was really cool. I thought it still had fruit. It was still really neat, and it smells a little bit more floral than fruity.
Right.
But, man, it was really good. So, I can't imagine how that 05 was. That just must have been so much fun to get into.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I think I took a bottle and had it with some lobster. Not too shabby.
Nice.
Well, there you go.
It's surprising how well that Roussanne ages for a stainless steel white wine. I remember we did some sort of industry wine group tasting at Tablas Creek, and we brought in a 2009 Roussanne, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. And so at that point, the Roussanne was 7, 8, 9 years old, and they had all these different Roussannes from France, other parts of California, Saint Ynez and whatnot, and they brown bagged all of them. And I brought an 09 of ours, which is older, and then all the industry people that were at this dinner that Tablas Creek put on, which was really nice, voted, and ours ended up winning the popular vote. So
Wow,
we were
cool.
super excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, it does really age. And all these people that,
Yeah.
new Roussan.
Is stainless typical for Roussan?
Not typically, no. And there's something only like, I want to say 200 to 300 acres in the state of California.
Yeah.
And we have 6 acres at Cass.
Wow.
So we theoretically have 1 in 30 drops of Roussan grown in the state of California on our vineyard right here at Cass.
Wow.
So there's not a lot out there.
So when we talk about the oak that goes into this wine, what is the oak program? Is it neutral, or do we throw a little new oak?
Well,
on
what
it?
we're going to be having here is fully stainless, but that's what's kind of cool, especially with Roussan, is
There's no oak on this at all.
No.
This is all from the skins and the fleshiness of the fruit.
Yeah, and so
Wow.
I
I could have swore this had a little bit. I mean, that mouthfeel.
Well,
is
you got
crazy.
the Marsanne in front of you, and that's where I said that kind of nutty character that comes through. It does almost seem kind of like oaky, but with Roussan, it's so versatile. You could throw a bunch of stuff on it, and usually for our oaked white, the Rockin' One, one of my favorite barrels, actually a couple of favorite barrels in the cellar, is a oaked Marsanne on Russian oak. I'm sorry, oaked Roussan on Russian oak, and
What does
it
this
is
Russian oak bring to the program?
Can we call it
spiciness.
Russian?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Collusion.
All right, we got the guys
Russian Federation.
hanging out from Cass. CassWines.com is the website. They've got this beautiful Geneseo Inn. We're going to talk about all these wines. They won 2020 Winery of the Year. That was their third. That's the turkey, right? That's when you go bowling and you get the three.
Yep.
The 3 strikes. You get.
Well, I told Steve, who are we paying off for this, man? We got to stop it.
Sterling's killing it, man. And you guys are killing it. You guys take such good care of these vineyards, these wines. We'll have more coming up here live from Mission Square at the California Mid-State Fair.